What if I get it wrong? What if they don't like what I do? What if I don't do it right? What if I make a mistake? What if I hurt someone? What if there's an accident? So many of us struggle with perfectionism. Perfectionism can be a symptom of other mental illnesses, but sometimes it's just the thing that gets in our head. All of us are worth loving as we are now, but all of us still have things that we could work on. Perfectionism is the idea that everything is all or nothing thinking. Either we're getting it right or we're getting it wrong. If we're not getting it right every single time, we're messing it up. How do we combat this kind of thinking in ourselves? How does this harm us and the people that we love? What if I told you that perfectionism supports white supremacy? What if I told you that perfectionism is a tool of patriarchy and capitalism, and that by holding yourself to a perfect standard, you're supporting the man? Hi, I'm Stephanie, or you can call me Essie. I use she and they pronouns interchangeably. Welcome back to my channel. I like to talk about race, privilege, power, polyamory, capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, intersectionality, all the ways that our interpersonal relationships can help break down the systems that oppress us. So let's talk about perfectionism. Perfectionism is something that a lot of us suffer with. And when I talk about it being a tool of white supremacy, this is not something I just made up. Organizations like the Texas Historical Commission, the Colorado Bar, and others have produced academic articles talking about how perfectionism supports white supremacy. When we think about white supremacy, it's ultimately upholding the status quo, the patriarchy, cis heteromononormativity. It's all about tradition and holding up the values already in place, which usually support people that are already in power. Perfectionism is more than just a personality quirk. It can lead to things like eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and a host of other mental health issues. Perfectionism upholds the idea that if we've made a mistake, we've already failed. It gives people impossible standards to keep up. By supporting perfectionism versus accountability, everything is all or nothing. Either you're doing it right or you're bad and you're doing it wrong. Accountability allows people to make mistakes, but tries to ensure that those mistakes won't happen again, either to the same parties or to new parties. White supremacy culture uses perfectionism to uphold the status quo. As long as we are striving to be perfect, we are always striving to uphold someone else's idea of what is right and what is correct. All or nothing thinking allows for no shades of gray, which most moral areas occupy some sense of ambiguity. Instead of striving for perfection, we should be striving for excellence. Excellence allows room for growth, room for error, room to make mistakes and learn more, while also acknowledging that someone is doing the best that they can, and that's pretty damn good. We need to separate people from their mistakes. We are not our errors. We are more than our regrets and our mistakes. Problems come when there's a larger pattern of behavior that is not addressed. If someone creates an issue and continues to make the same issue over and over again, rather than stopping and addressing the issue and making it up with the hurt party, these behavioral patterns continue and harm more people. Most of the time, the issue with perfectionism is a call that comes from inside the house, but it can happen within leftist parties anyway. We do a lot of infighting, expecting everyone to be the perfect ally, the perfect friend, expecting everybody to get it right the first time. And they don't, because they are human and they make mistakes. The issue isn't making mistakes. The issue is staying put, listening to how you've made the mistake, learning how to come back from them, how to absolve the hurt that you've caused with the mistakes that you've made. But as long as we continue all or nothing thinking and perfectionism, all we are doing is continuing to uphold the status quo, to support the patriarchy, white supremacy, and all of the other systems like capitalism that hold us all in place. Whenever I find myself struggling with perfectionist thinking, I remind myself that perfectionism upholds white supremacy and the status quo. ACAB includes that voice in your brain that tells you not to speak up, not to say something, not to stand up for yourself. Fight the man, fight the patriarchy, fight that little voice in your brain that tells you you shouldn't stand up. Sometimes it feels like the world is so hard and it's impossible to make change, but the way that we do that, the way that we change the world around us, is by changing our interpersonal relationships and by building community where we live. Only by building community and by making change where you are locally can you make bigger change that affects other people and affects the world. How can you possibly change the world if you don't even believe that you're capable? Thank you so much for watching my video today. You can support my channel, of course, by subscribing, liking, commenting down below. I'd love to answer anything that you have about polyamory, about relationship anarchy, about perfectionism, about the way our interpersonal relationships can be used to fight white supremacy. And I hope you'll watch more videos that I have. The most recent one will be down here on your right, and something that might be a little older but more fitting for you will be here on the left. I hope you'll stick around if you want to learn all the ways that you can fight the man and the establishment just with your interpersonal relationships. Thanks for watching.